So you're thinking of moving to Gilbert, Arizona, and you come across this video because with the good comes the bad. And today I'm going to tell you guys 5 reasons that my clients have given me, or I've experienced with my clients, that's made them not want to move to Gilbert specifically. So let's get to it. And hey, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Ryan Meeks. I am a real estate agent serving everyone, everywhere from Scottsdale, Cave Creek, all the way down to Santan Valley. Whether you guys are looking to move here in 2 weeks, 2 years, or 20 years, hopefully I'm retired in 20 years, someplace other than this office. I know a lot of you are on sort of a discovery exploratory missions. Shoot me a text, call, email. I'm always happy to chat. I love chatting about life here. I moved here 8 years ago from Chicago, and let me tell you, it's been fantastic. I was just visiting Fargo. Went there for the winter for my kids' hockey tournament, and negatives. Yeah. It was brutal. So happy to get back to Arizona. I will take the heat over the winter any day. Now, this first reason you may not want to move to Gilbert, and I totally understand. I had a client who was going to make the move down here, and he had this salesperson send him pictures with the Santan Mountain in the background. The views were absolutely amazing. You could see this big mountain, and if you looked from the backside of your house, you'd see this just gorgeous view. And that's how the pamphlets sort of showcased this viewpoint from this home. Now, the thing that he didn't realize is, well, that was zoomed in quite a bit. So I went there, took a video, and he's like, hey, where's this mountain at that I saw in the brochure that the salesperson sent me? And I said, hey, it's right here. So I zoomed in, and it was pretty much the same view that he had seen. And he's like, well, how does it look when you're just in the backyard? So I did the magnification only 1 time because that's what we see out of our eyes. We don't see 2 or 3 times magnification. So I sent him that picture, and he was not impressed. So I saved him a trip down to Gilbert, and he actually ended up purchasing at McDowell Mountain Ranch in Scottsdale, which sits at the base of the McDowell Mountain Range. Beautiful rolling hills, beautiful views, because that's what he wanted in his retirement. So the thing is, number one, if you guys are moving to Gilbert, you're not going to get $1 million views. You're really just going to see the Santan Mountain if you go to Power Ranch, Trilogy Golf Club, and then you have a big wide open space with no trees or no homes next to you. Then you'll be able to see the Santan Mountain. Or if you go to Target, there's a wide open parking lot. Maybe you can see the Superstition Mountains out to the east. But other than that, there really aren't good mountain views here, and I wouldn't recommend moving to Gilbert for good views. Some places that are good are Ahwatukee, Peoria, especially Vistancia, Verrado. Anywhere near the White Tank Mountains has really good views. But the thing is, if you have a house up against you, you're gonna miss out on those mountain views because our mountains here are more like hills if you ask anybody from Washington. Now, the second thing that's keeping people from moving to Gilbert is, well, it's nice to walk out and maybe walk across the street, go to a coffee shop, or walk down the block and go shopping, or go over here and do this, or go over here and do that. Well, there's not a whole lot of that in Gilbert. Now, Gilbert covers 67 square miles, and most of that is going to be your planned HOA communities. And one thing they don't plan for in these HOA communities is like a little coffee shop or a little market center. Instead, what they do is they put all of this commercial on a corner at the edge of the community. So maybe you'll have a gas station, you might have a little Safeway built in over there, but it's more of a strip mall. It's not going to be like your quaint little downtown that you found when you lived in the Midwest. So you see that in the Midwest, the East Coast, you got all these quaint little towns. You see it in California quite a bit. But here in Arizona, you're just not going to have that little downtown experience. Now, downtown Gilbert's great. If you live close to downtown Gilbert, absolutely love it there. There are a few planned communities. They're a little bit older, built out when Gilbert first started. But do you really want to live in a home that's been built in between 1940 and 1970 just because you can walk to the downtown area? Probably not, and what you're seeing is most of these homes are being rehabbed. So number 2, walkability here in Gilbert, Arizona is definitely not a 10. Now, number 3, there are really older, less maintained neighborhoods. And what I want to do in the future, make sure you guys subscribe, by the way, like this video, help push it out there because my videos have been getting no views lately. Please help me. But anyways, what I want to do is create a video where we go through the decades. We have homes in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s and up, because one thing you have to know about Gilbert is that it's got homes that just are really ugly. They're super ugly. And what they're doing now is they're changing these color palettes from orange, thank the Lord, to more colorful things like whites, even though white's not a color, but you get what I'm saying. White, you can, I mean, you're not going to paint your house black or pink or anything like that, but you have different color palettes. Something like this might be on a color palette for a home. But back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of these homes were just orange, and for some reason, the rocks match the house. So you have this nasty front yard landscaping that's all rocks. They didn't really do it up well. People didn't maintain this over the years, so these communities look a little bit rough. Now, there are super nice communities. You have Morrison Ranch. You have Power Ranch right here where I live. You have some really beautiful communities that are well kept and have kept up with the standards of today's designs, right? Today's color palettes. So these communities, even though they were built in, let's say, the late 90s, early 2000s, still look nice. But 80s and 90s, I don't know, man. These communities, you'll see, go through them, look them up on the MLS. They look a little bit rough. So older neighborhoods, people just don't go for them. Another thing that keeps people from moving to Gilbert is the high costs of pretty much everything, from real estate to water to a night out. So let's start with real estate. In terms of housing, you have your median home price at $585,000 here. The high is going to be $6.3 million, and then the low is going to be only $200,000. But that $200,000 house, $585,000 to purchase a home. And then on top of that, we've had monthly, or I should say yearly, water bill increases. In 2024, the average bill increased by $17. I got it right here. In April of 2025, the average monthly water bill is supposed to increase by $13. And then in 2026, it's supposed to increase by another $16. So if you add all that up, what is that? $30, $40, $46 per month in just 3 years. I mean, it's absolutely crazy what we're going to be paying here for water. But you know what? Our water before was super cheap, and I was like, why is water so inexpensive here, considering that we live in the desert? So I guess we are getting what's been coming to us. We're going to have some higher water bills. Now let's address the third thing, and that's going out. Now let me give you an example here. I went to the Cardinals game to see the Cardinals versus the Bears, being from Chicago, you know, and thought I'd go to a Bears game for the first time, believe it or not. So I went to that game. I got a margarita drink, and it was $16 there. And I was like, holy cow, this isn't bad, because this is what I pay when I go out in Gilbert to get some kind of special. I drink the foofy drinks. I don't drink the beer or anything like that. Margaritas, I love Bloody Marys. But anyway, 16 bucks is kind of the norm for a drink here in Gilbert, Arizona, if you're going to some place that's kind of nice. So you'll be kind of struck by your bill at the end of the day. When you know, you go out with just a few people, it can be upwards to around $600, depending how crazy you guys get. I mean, the prices here are really astronomical. And when I go back to Chicago or anywhere else in general, for that matter, the prices are a lot less than they are here in terms of dining, shopping, and just overall expenses. So expect a higher cost of living here in Gilbert, Arizona. And hey, if you guys have stuck around, this is the fifth and final reason. I think it's the most important reason. You're seeing a lot of people with their homes in Gilbert. Their kids have grown up. The home is now old. They haven't touched the thing or updated it in years, right? So they're saying, hey, if I can sell this thing for $800,000 and move to Queen Creek, buy something new for $700,000, downsize, or even get the same size, right? Because it's going to be cheaper in Queen Creek. Then hey, why don't I just go and do that? That makes more sense, right? So the thing is about Gilbert, there's very little new build projects happening. There are some, but there are very few plots of land that are being sold because farmers are holding out, they're holding out, they're holding out. And then finally, when they get that buck that they want, boom, they're selling here in Gilbert, and they're demanding a high price for that. And their plots of land are smaller. So you're seeing these developers come in, they're putting more bougie style homes into these little plots of land because they're so little, they have to make larger margins. They're not gonna, you know, just throw 8,000 homes on 14 acres, right? And you're seeing, in turn, buyers who want a new build at a reasonable price going out to Queen Creek, Santan Valley. Maybe they're going out to Buckeye, they're going out to Surprise. Peoria's got a lot, Goodyear. So they're skipping Gilbert because to purchase a new build here, it is just so dang expensive. And just for an example, I mean, if you're looking at like a 3,000 square foot home here in Gilbert, new build, you're probably looking upwards somewhere around 900 to $1 million for that, right? And then if you're gonna go someplace else, let's say Queen Creek, you're probably looking at like $700,000 there. So those are just kind of like roundabout estimates. Usually you're paying $100,000 to $200,000 more to be in Gilbert for that location, to be closer to Phoenix rather than out in Queen Creek and Santan Valley. So hey, now you know the reasons people avoid Gilbert, but if you still plan on making a move, you should watch this video right here where I go over the things you need to know before you make that move.